So today marks the day where we start moving everyone that's on this rack in my house into the fish garage, which is behind me. And I think we're gonna make a tank for the marbled betta for the pure reason that I've got a design in my head that I think will work and will look good. Anyway, let's get in the garage and start sorting this out. Now, if you've watched the channel for a while, you'll know that I like these Interpet Aqua Cubes. I have used them tons and tons throughout, well, different builds throughout time on this channel. But yeah, they're just really nice, affordable, simple beginners aquariums. And I think this will be perfect for this little scape because I don't want anything majorly exciting. I don't want lots of maintenance with lots of fast growing plants. I want simple plants, simple hardscape, and just for that marbled betta to be the centerpiece of this. Now I do have my little betta embellis, which is my wild type betta, living in one of these upstairs as well. Again, he's a very juvenile, small little betta. I'm going to try and remove this polystyrene without making too many horrible noises. What was I saying? Yes, so the betta embellis, one more time. Now they come with a lot of the things that you need to get started in it. They come with your lighting all built in around the rim here. And it also comes with, where are you? A filter. Now we'll get into that in a minute because it's all in a box. I want to get the tank out first and show you what we're working with. Oh, and most importantly, it does come with a lid as well because bettas can be a little bit jumpy. Now, one of the reasons I do enjoy using these tanks, especially when talking to, sorry about that, beginners, is that the lighting is really low. And yes, okay, that does mean it's not gonna grow your most demanding of aquarium plants, but it does mean less people suffer with algae. And I think if we can get early success in people setting up their aquariums and yeah, getting it running properly, then they were on to a winner. If people suffer with algae early on, it puts them off, it makes them sort of a bit heartbroken in it, and I think this is a great way to start. Just a touch button on the top and away you go. Now I've got some cool ideas for the hardscape to go in this tank, and if you've watched some of my recent videos, I have gone and purchased a ton of hardscape ready for all these new setups we are going to be doing. Now, I think it's going to be quite intense with rock at the back, some big lumps of rock, and then some wood coming down into the front. And obviously I'm going to try and scape it to view it from here and to view it from here because, well, that's the way at the moment when it's on here, we're going to be viewing it. Now I have made the mistake in the past where I've scaped aquariums and not thought about the filter. Is that everything? Nope, there's a little clip. So I'm going to put this in first to make sure that I keep the hardscape away from the filter, and it actually means that I can maintain the filter properly. Now I do get the odd comment from time to time that asks me, why do I stick with the internal filters, or why do I use the filter that comes with the tank? And I'll be honest with you, that is because, well, from working in the shop for, crikey, a long time, 18 odd years, a lot of people start with these tanks. And then when they see these aquascapes online with, you know, no pipe work on view or no filtration or no heaters, it gives them a false sense of like, my aquarium doesn't look as good as that. Like, mine's got the big black filter in the back and it's got the heater. Absolutely, because that is what you need. At some point you can always upgrade, you could chuck an external on, you could mess around with it, whatever, you know, you could take the lid off of this and upgrade the lighting if you wanted to. It is totally up to you. But 99% of people in the hobby, they start out by just picking up a box off the shelf, and what it comes with, it comes with. They ain't gonna mess around by upgrading the filter straight away. It will be something that evolves. So on my channel, by using these filters and showing you that you can still aquascape around a filter, you can still have a beautiful tank with a black filter sat in the back of it, I hope that I give people a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of confidence that your tank can still look good. And that is exactly the reason why I use mostly standard kit across all my aquariums. So the filters that come with this tank are just a nice little waterfall filter. So you've got the spout at the front there, just gives a really gentle flow, especially when you're keeping bettas. You don't want anything that's going to pump water around the aquarium at 1,000 miles an hour. And you've just got two little clips that clip over the back and two suction cups at the bottom to stop any vibrations and any noise. So that should just clip up there. Now all the medias and things you do need to take out the bag, obviously. Let's do that now. And if you have watched my videos on the new biodegradable cartridges from Interpet, they actually fit into this filter, I believe, as well. And I don't know where my box of those are, so I'll have to find them later. But yeah, little lid to go on the filter, somehow, like so. There we go. And, well, we're ready to start scaping, I guess. Now, there are a couple of other little things that I'd probably do before starting to scape, actually thinking about it. One is get the heater in there. Now, I am heating this room to about 22, 23 degrees, so I'm hoping most of the aquariums will stay at ambient temperature and won't need a heater. But because this is one of the first aquariums in this room, other than my 125 that's beside me, but that's a quarantine tank and has a heater in it. So anyway, by the way, I will be putting a heater in this. I've got to go upstairs and grab one from the other fish room, so I'll go get that in a minute. And then the other thing is a background. Normally, before setting up an aquarium, I would put a background on, but I'm going to be using a lot of dark stone in this, and I'm not 100% sure whether a black background will make everything blend into it, or whether it will make it pop. It will certainly make the fish pop because of that white fish, so I'm going to leave the background for a minute. Obviously, ideally, I can slide this forward and get in behind it and put a background on at a later time, maybe once we've finished scaping. So let me go find a heater, and then I'm going to bring in the Black Star lava rock. How cool does that sound? Black Star lava rock. Essentially, it's lava rock pebbles. So really smooth, really, I was going to say soft. I don't mean soft at all. Rocks aren't soft. I mean smooth and not sharp. So the Betta won't catch himself on them. Now I'm going to place this down because I'm going to bring some of these lava stones up. Now, obviously you saw I picked up a bucket of them. Now, if I was to put that whole bucket in here, we wouldn't have any space for the fish. So that is definitely not the plan. But I just wanted a selection to sort of play with and get my bearings on how big I want them to be. Yeah, I think this is going to work. Now, I wasn't going to use any soil in this scape, but I think a little bit of it in the back here, oh, press the light button with my arm, will just help me out. I might need to move that heater, but we shall see. Now, I will cap this with a layer of black sand, but this will just give me a good bed. Well, it helps with soft water fish, it helps with plants, just gives us a bit of a head start on what we're trying to achieve here. So now I'm hoping this soil will have provided us a bit of a cushion to start building on. Now, none of the fish in here are going to be diggers, so we don't have to worry too much about that, and I'm going to end up probably gluing some of these rocks together. I sort of need a slightly smaller one, or that one to go on its side. So I don't want to go too crazy with the rock work. That's a good amount in there. Now, if you wanted to make this slightly cheaper on yourselves, you could obviously use like standard river cobbles that you could pick up from your local garden centre or whatever. The black lava stone is a little bit more expensive, but the good thing with this is that obviously lava stone is very porous, so it adds a lot of surface area to your aquarium and will, in a roundabout way, keep your aquarium cleaner. In a roundabout way. There will be lots more bacteria in there that'll be helping break down waste. Not that we're going to really need that much bacteria for the one fish that we're going to be putting in here, but there is a thought that once little marbled Betta outgrows this tank, I could then move him up and then do this as a shrimp tank, possibly, and just keep the same scape in there. But anyway, next up, I want to add some wood in here. Now, I've got some small pieces of wood that I think I can sort of, I don't know, work around the rock work, but I should have probably thought about this before putting the rock in because I didn't really think about wood. Now, if you watch my recent video of moving into the fish room, you'll have seen me dryscape this tank and this tank and this tank. There's no wood in that tank though, so we disregard that one. Now, these two bits in here are quite chunky, unfortunately. They are, yeah, really quite big. I don't think either of them are going to work, not with the amount of rock I've already put in there. But these three little bits here could work, and I sort of want to like weave it round the rocks. That's the plan, and yeah, there's some good shapes in those, so let's grab those three out and give them a go. If not, I've got some smaller twiggy wood out in another cupboard that might work better, but we'll try these three first. Those two bits of wood worked out an absolute treat. Like, just check out how they sort of interlock in the aquarium, and they sit just away from the filter. So I'll pop a few spots of glue on the rocks and the wood between everything so that it glues together and holds itself. But they just sort of create this, well, what is it? A backward C, yeah. But you've still got that main focal point rock there. You've got the other rock that's just poking out behind. I really like that, and that's going to add a little bit of a different colour to this. And once we get some plants sort of positioned around it, it's going to look awesome. I am really happy with how that turned out. Now I am going to cap the substrate with a sand. I've got like a black sand, because once these rocks go wet, hang on, let me borrow a bit of water out of this tank. They are proper dark colours. They're almost like a dark grey to dark black. So I think having that black substrate or black sand above the substrate will just work an absolute treat. Some dark green plants and we're done. We've got the marbled Betta's tank ready to rock and roll. Still can't decide on a background. I think I'm going to leave it until it's full of water and see what I want. Now, before I go putting that sand in, it's probably a good idea to actually get these bits of wood glued to the stone, because I guarantee you that my hands and the scoop that I use will end up knocking all of this over. So I don't know where my contact points are. There. So for anyone who hasn't used glue in an aquarium before, you can use any cyanoacrylate glue safely in aquariums. Now this is the moss glue. They do two different types. So this is a liquid one, and they also do a gel. Now this liquid one pretty much goes off instantly. So when I start filling this aquarium up, these bits of wood, because they've never been in water before, well, not recently anyway, they would start floating and being a nightmare. So if I can just get the few contact points and glue this, hopefully when I fill it, we won't have any issues. Famous last words though. Right, so we've glued probably 5 or 6 points on each one, and it is solid. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Right, black sand, and then plants. Now next up is planting. Now up in this box, I haven't actually fixed these light units. This is going to make a mess, I think. Oh, that was probably needs sorting out. Now up in this box here, we have got a load of epiphytes I ordered for a few different projects, this being one of them. Now, the good thing is with the Anubias and the Bucephalandra I keep in here is they don't mind just being kept damp essentially. Keep them up there, light on them, spray them once every couple of days, and they grow really well. Now in this box we have got some Nana, which I think might be a little bit big, but hang on, let me move that and I'll show you. Over there. So this gap behind here I think could work for a bigger Anubias, and then I want some smaller Anubias, or maybe even some Bucephalandra. These are a little bit more expensive normally, but I find them are really robust. And yeah, maybe some Bucephalandra just around there. I want to be able to see the sea, well, backwards sea. I want to be able to see that shape. Maybe a boost down here, maybe one down here. I don't want to pack it out, but maybe maximum of half a dozen epiphytes, I think. And maybe, actually, we have got small Anubias down here. Look, which ones are these? A Nana Mini. Oh, they might be better, look. They're a much more sort of manageable size. And then I'm thinking for this back corner, because we've got lights here, here, and here. I'm not going to plant anything under this light, because that would be right in the front, and that would be silly. But under this lamp and this lamp, I'm thinking a stem plant. Now that we've got that substrate in there to help us, I'm thinking a stem plant. Now there is a touch of algae on the glass, so don't worry about that. But this is my quarantine tank. Ignore the discus, they were rehomed just a bit ago, and I'm trying to bring them back to full fitness. But yeah, that was a thing that I didn't think I was going to have to do. But hey ho, we learn, we adapt, we react to people phoning us middle of the day needing to rehome fish. So I've got Limnophila in here, which is this beautiful feathery plant. And I've also got Hygrophila polysperma, which is this absolute thug that has grown right up to the surface and is growing crazily. But a mixture of those two stem plants, really easy to grow, really hardy, and don't require too much light. So should work absolutely perfectly. Well, I say should, they will, because I've grown them in this tank under these lights before. Now obviously all these plants do need to be prepped, but what I'm going to do is prep them one by one, because I don't know if I need this many. I think I could use them all, definitely, but whether I want to or not is another question. So we're just going to get rid of all this rock wool, make sure the plants are clean on their roots, and we'll start with the biggest one at the top first and work our way down through the tank, seeing how many of these we need. So that's the planting of the epiphytes finished. Now I used a grand total of 4 pots. The only thing I'm thinking is this one here might float. I might have to use a bit of glue on that one. I would often glue these to pebbles or something like that, but because I created so many gaps with this wood, well, I didn't need to, and I just literally wedged them all the way around, and it sort of follows that path that I wanted it to. So next up I'm going to do the stem plants in either side just to give us a bit of backdrop, and it'll also give us a hiding spot for the betta when all those plants grow up and fill in those areas. Now the other thing I will do with these stem plants is pop some root tablets in where they're going. Probably not many, maybe 1 tablet for each group of plants, maybe 2 if I space them out a lot, but this will just give the roots a little bit of food, give them a bit of a boost in this aquarium. Now we'll need to trim these plants down, I would expect quite dramatically. We shall see. Hopefully I can just replant the tops that I cut off and use them in the aquarium. Oh crikey, yeah, we don't need it that tall. Let's trim it halfway. So we are fully planted. It is looking cool. I still can see the wood that I like. It's looking really good. The only thing I'm tempted by is to either put some more plants in the front or some botanicals, like a couple of seed pods or something. I really can't make my mind up. So I think we're going to fill it up, get it filled with water, and I'll live with it for a few days and just see what I think is going to look right. I could always glue some little Bucephalandras that match onto some tiny pebbles and just place them through the front, or boil up some botanicals really quickly and chuck them in. Yeah, I can't make my mind up. Maybe both. So that is it. It's a little bit condensated because I've just filled it up with cold water, but give it a few hours, we'll get that filter and heater turned on and it will be up to temperature and shouldn't be cloudy. I'll just need to give the sides a little bit of a wipe off to get rid of all these air bubbles, but I still believe it needs something in that front. It's a bit plain for me. I think a few botanicals or leaves or something, yeah, I think it would just tie it in. I have got one idea actually that might work, and that is just some larger black gravel. This might look absolutely terrible and I might regret doing this, but it might look alright. Oh, that's cool. That just gives a little bit of grading from the large pebbles down to the smaller sand. Yeah, let's put another handful of that in. Okay, cool. That makes me a little bit happier. That breaks up that really stark sort of sandy base there. So I think, like I say, we'll give it a few days. That white pebble that just went in is really annoying. That did not need to go in there. So that is everything. We just need to dechlorinate the water Make sure that's ready and raring to go. And some bacterial boost. Sorry for the lack of voice as well throughout this video. I am still recovering and I didn't realise how much making a video would actually affect my voice. So yeah, it's gradually got worse throughout the day. So there we go, it's dechlorinated, it's bacterial boosted, it is running, it's got the plants in there. It is a little bit chilly, but we will get there over the next few days. I am going to be using a mature media out of one of my other filters just to help seed this filter, but I don't want to go crazy. I want to let the plants settle in. I want to let the wood leach a bit of tannins out into the water. I just want everything to settle. I don't want to go throwing things in and having a problem, especially as I've had this fish for quite some time now, quite attached to him. So we'll give this about a week or so, let it settle down, and then I'll bring you all back in a minute when I've decided what to put in the front and we're also ready to add the fish. Well, maybe I'll have added something to the front before then, who knows. We are back after, well, around a week now, and the tank is cleared, the plants have settled in, they're all starting to shoot in different places. It is going great. Now I have put a little bit of mature media up into the filter just to help us with the cycling process. So we did have a slight bit of bacterial bloom, which is just normal for a tank like this, to be honest. It's nothing to worry about. But now that that is cleared, we have tested all the water for the last couple of days and everything is coming out. So we are ready to introduce our little marbled betta to this aquarium. But first, I do want to make some additions. And one of those additions is just to give some interest to this front area. It does look better with the little gravel and the sand sort of mixed in now. It doesn't look as bare, but I am going to add some botanicals. So we have got these, which are Badam pods. I'm not too sure if we're going to use a couple of them. I have got one less now because it's fallen on the floor. But yeah, we have got a couple of those, which I think will just make good little caves and hiding spaces for the betta. Then the other thing I've got is Lotus pods. So these are actually the seed pod from the top of the Lotus that, well, like a water lily, big water lily. And you can see all the seeds down inside there. Now I have got a few of those because, again, they come from a similar area to where the bettas are from in the wild. Bettas do better, I knew what I meant, in black water or in slightly sort of softer acidic water. So this will just help us with that. Now, one thing we will do with these botanicals first is boil them. This is just going to leach out the first load of tannins, so it means that they won't release as many tannins in the water, and also it will get rid of any nasties that might be living on them. It's very unlikely, but as always, it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm happy that that's given a bit of detail to the front of the tank. It did just look a little bit bare. Plants would have worked, that's worked. It just depends what your style was and what you wanted to put in there. Lastly, before getting this better in, I just want to put the background on because if I need to slide the tank around or move it around, I don't really want to do that with a fish in. So I've just got some foam board that I've cut to size. And I'm literally just going to tape it to the back, this corner and that corner, isn't it? Yeah, those two sides. And then we can go and get our marbled betta. So the time has finally come that we are ready to introduce our little marbled betta. Now, just gone and caught him out of his aquarium, and I will give him a quick acclimatization into here. Well, I say quick, a normal acclimatization, because the water in here probably is slightly different to the tank he has come from. That tank is quite mature now. There's a lot of surface plants on there. There's a lot of lily leaves on there, whereas this obviously is a little bit fresher and a little bit newer, so the pHs and the hardnesses may be a little bit different. So we'll give him an acclimatization, but then we are ready to pop him in. And yeah, water's tested, filters on. I'm looking forward to seeing him in there. So we've given this little Betta about 45 minutes now, and he seems to be buzzing around this jug and wanting to get out. So I think it's time that we introduce him to his new home. Now, normally I would turn the lights out, but because he's come from just the other side of the garage door, and the lights were on in his aquarium, I'm not overly worried. And also the lights in this tank aren't overly bright. So here we go. Let's get you in to your new home. You're eyeballing me already. So there we go, another successful Interpet Aqua Cube, and he's looking like he's fairly chilled out in there. He is buzzing about, exploring everything, checking out all the seed pods behind the wood. So yeah, I think he's going to do well in here, to be honest. Now that I've set up this one here, I sort of feel like I want a whole row of them on this shelf behind me, but yeah, there's more space for racking over there and maybe some there, and yeah, I think we need to fill the garage. I've got plans for a bigger tank next to this one, so oh my word, so many plans, so much time, so much effort. We will get there eventually though, but definitely want some more Bettas. I've still got to move my alien in here, and I'm probably going to move my wild embellis in here as well. That could be quite a cool series of 3 tanks next to each other. I think we'll end up adding some cleanup crew to here, maybe some snails and maybe some shrimp, depending on... I've not seen how aggressive he is. We've got some cherries in with him in the old tank, but they're quite big and chunky, so I might have to be careful with that. But a few cleanup crew wouldn't go amiss in here. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this one, and well, let me know in the comments what you want to see next. I'll see you in the next one.